All right, well, welcome back. This afternoon, we're going to be covering a lot of topics in a short period of time. So, kind of a little smattering of the different things. We'll do billow cloth beauty, creative worship, and choreography tips and techniques of presentation do's and don'ts. And if there's time, we might do a little bit of team tip talk time, team tips and do's and don'ts and things, which is a lot of fun, really. So now, billow cloth beauty, obviously, I can't do billows without a second person, but what I'll attempt to do is show you, and we can all pretend that we've got billows in our hands. And the billows are the 5 yard beautiful cloths that, either the silk, usually they're made of silk, like I've got the healing one over there, or they're made of tissue lame, which is very, very lightweight. And tissue lame comes in a lot of different colors. Of course, the silk does as well. So, and I have those available. But they're beautiful to, well, like all the scriptures that relate to flags or banners, which we'll do tomorrow afternoon, purposeful pageantry. We'll go over where flags are scripturally and all that. But all the scriptures that relate to flags or banners can relate to the billow cloths, right? Because billow is also a banner of sorts. And so they're beautiful to add to choreography or to do during artistic worship. And I've got the whole billow cloth beauty video, and you'll see it in the artistic worship video and things like that. But, and of course, we always do it during the conferences. But since we're mostly individuals here online, we'll go through some of the things that you can do with them, just pretending like you've got a partner, pretending you've got them in your hands. Now, if you've never done billows before, you might, particularly with the tissue lame kind, you might want to take the end at corner and kind of wrap it around your finger and hold on to it like that. So just in case, and so they're wrapped around the finger, you're holding on to it, just in case you have an overzealous partner and they might yank it out of your hands, and then you're, running in the middle and trying to pick it up and all that. So by wrapping it around your finger and holding on, especially if you've never done it before, after you've done it a while, sometimes I'll just hold it with my fingertip and my thumb and, do it. It just takes a little practice. So let's stand up and we'll just, pretend that we have a partner and pretend that you've got a beautiful 5 yard cloth. And so the one thing you can do is, close this so you can see better. The one thing you can do is, of course, a regular billow. I'm going to lift this up just a little bit. I think you'll see better. So if you've got, I should probably spotlight me. I don't know if you guys are able to make it speaker view but I'll just go ahead and pin, but I'll just spotlight. That way you can see better. So anyway, so you've got it in your hands, your partner's got it in your hands, and it doesn't require a big heave-ho. You don't have to get way down, you don't have to work your legs or anything. It's kind of just a whoa, like that, and you just billow it up. Now you'll want to feel a little bit of tension from your partner, on the other side there. And because sometimes if a partner, has it going like this forward, and they don't pull their own weight, as it were, they don't pull the tension, what happens is on your side, you're back here doing like this, trying to, make it a nice billow. So it's good to practice with your partner a bit to kind of have tension against each other so that it, stays up there. Now, the common mistake, so you fill it up, you want to have your arms right by your ears, and arms nice and straight. And it'll make a nice billow if you haven't seen it. And the common mistake is people go, and they yank it right on down. So, unless you're doing something to the music with it, keep your arms up there And when the billow starts to go down on its own, then bring your arms down. So, don't go, like, and pull it down. That's like, it won't work. So you give it a little heave-ho, but not a giant one. And when it starts to come down, then you come down. So then we can do what's called the mushroom. And so you and your partner would each take one step in and one step out. It's kind of like a rocking step, if you will. So you billow up, a little one step in, and one step out, and let it come down, and then lower your arms. So what happens, a lot of times in the conferences they'll say, one step in and one step out. People run, and run back out. Save that for the kiss. So again, the mushroom is billow up, and one step in, kind of rock in and rock out, and then lower it down once the billow starts to go down. That creates a real pretty mushroom shape like that. So then there's the kiss, and that's where you billow it up, and you do take a few steps in toward your partner, and then you come back out, and it starts to come down, and lower your arms. That's the kiss. You don't have to necessarily touch your hands together, just coming in kind of close to each other and then back out. And that creates this ribbon effect. It kind of looks like, taffy, if you will. So it's kind of this, big kind of a, curve like that. So in the kiss, you go up and go towards your partner and back out and bring it on down. Now, any of those three moves you can do with multiple billows. So let's say you have you and your partner across this way. You might have another couple of people with their billows going this way, so that it's making like a plus sign. Like a plus sign. One cloth goes this way and one cloth is the other way. And so you can do the same kind of things, just billowing both together and down, or you can do the mushroom, looks like a hot air balloon, or you can do the kiss, which is like a skinny hot air balloon, and back down. You can do it with as many billows as you want on top of each other. The other thing, before we go on to that, is trading places, which is quite lovely and useful when there are multiple billows. But you billow up and you come toward your partner, and then you turn clockwise around. You're facing your partner's going that way, you're facing your partner, and then you back up in your partner's spot. So you're essentially trading places. And if you go back, you billow up, you come towards your partner, and you turn clockwise, and that's important for a reason, and then you back up, and you back away back to your original spot. So the reason we say clockwise is because when you're in multiple billows, one on top of the other, and you do that, it creates a knot, which I'll go over in a second. But so in order to undo the knot, you have to go counterclockwise. So let's pretend that we've got several billows on top of each other. We've got you and your partner across here, and you've got partners across, like the plus sign, and you might have another billow going diagonally across that way, and another billow diagonally across that way. So, depending on how many people you have. So here's some things that you can do with multiple billows. I like to do what we call succession, and that's like lifting up the top cloth, and then the second cloth goes, then the third cloth, fourth cloth, and however many we have, 5, let's say. So they're all up, and so it's a beautiful hot air balloon look, with multiple colors like that, right? And then the balloon comes down, and everybody lowers their arms. So you can do that, so it's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and everybody lower down. So another thing you can do is, I'll be this plus sign one, so I'm coming over here, is the whole hot air balloon, the whole billow shifts over by one person. So you can, let's do it all together. You billow all together up and rotate. And so you rotate over by one person's spot and lower down. You billow up and you rotate again and lower down and so on all the way around. And so the other thing that I like to do is you billow in succession. It's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and rotate it down. It takes a little practice, but so on the bottom cloth, let's say, and so it's cloth number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and down. So notice the shift there. Then you can have everybody billow up, and the bottom cloth people, so let's say I was over here on the bottom cloth, and once the billows are up, the bottom cloth people trade places. So let's do it like if they were doing it all together. So everybody billows up all together. The underneath cloth goes underneath, trades places, lowers down. Maybe they'll trade back to the original spot. Everybody billows up and you trade places and come down. And then with the well, you could do succession and do the same thing as well. It's a little trickier, but then the other thing is the top cloth people can trade places. So let's say this group over here was the top cloth people. And so everybody billows up, and then the top cloth people go underneath the hot air balloon, trade places. So we go billow up, and they go underneath the billow, and they turn and go backwards, just the trading places position. And what happens is the knot is in the middle. So then it kind of looks like a pinwheel. So there's, these short cloths now that are kind of fanned out there. So with the knot in the middle, you can hold, let's say, your right hand high, and your left hand is holding the bottom cloth across your waist, and you can begin to walk around in a circle very slowly, and that has, kind of this pinwheel effect. It's just beautiful. And you can take your right hand, let's say, and bring it forward as if you're going to touch the person's back in front of you, and lift it up and down and up. And you can do that as you're walking around the whole group, forward and up, and forward and up, and forward and up, and so on, right? So then to unwind, to kind of get, and you can also have dancers in between the pinwheels, if you will. So they could be really literally following the leader. So let's say I'm in one of those little triangle shapes in there, and maybe you direct a certain person to lead in some simple movements. The ones that are holding the billows, like the pinwheel, can bring it down low. They can maybe lift the bottom flap and have the top part maybe at their shoulder instead of lifting up high. If it's at their shoulder, then you can see the dancers that are in the pinwheel pie shapes, if you will. And so as they're going around, the dancers in the middle can be doing something very simple, maybe, one person is kind of leading, but if you're in front of that lead person, you don't have to turn your back around to try to see. You just follow the person who's in front of you, and that person's following the person who's in front of them, and so on. So it appears as if everybody knows this choreography when it's still really spontaneous. Everybody's really following that one person who's leading in whatever simple movements they are. So, there are many, many things that you can do with the billows. Now, if you're going to exit with the billows, let's say, so first we're in a knot, right? We've got the knot in the middle. So, where was the top cloth? Okay, so let's say, remember I was over there as the top cloth person, and we went under, we traded places, so I'm in my partner's spot, created the knot, right? So when we want to get rid of the knot, we can billow up again, and we go counterclockwise. So the billows are up high, we go counterclockwise underneath, and it should open out flat. Lord willing, it should open out flat. And then you're back to your, flat pie shapes again. So, what else? Oh, yeah, so exiting. So there's a few things you can do. You could, billow it up, and like the bottom cloth people could maybe have the top person flip around and the back person follows, or they billow it up and the top cloth turns sideways and walk down the aisles like that. The back person follows that person and try to keep it taut as you're going down the aisle or whatever. And then after they pass by, then the next cloth can, let's say that person's leading going off that way, then they billow up again, and let's see, I guess they have to do it this way. If that person's got that hand, this person would have this hand, and then it's flat, it's turned sideways, and they're going down. Now if you're going down the aisles, I'd recommend going down the outside aisles, because if you're holding it up flat, whether you're entering or exiting, and you come down the center aisle, I mean, it's okay, but then the people in the congregation can't see over it. So it's best to have the billows, enter from the side, just a little hint. So anyway, that's one way to exit. Another way to exit is like, let's say, that's my partner over there, and it doesn't matter who goes, but so let's say there's 6 cloths. So, or no, let's say there's 3 cloths, that's 6 people, right? So you have, say, cloth number 1, cloth number 2, cloth number 3. So cloth number 1 person, the lead person, let's say would turn around and run down that side aisle. And the middle person would billow up, flip around, and run down the center aisle. And this third person would billow up with their partner, and then they turn around and run down that other side aisle. But the partners have to let go. So you have to make sure that, if they're running down the aisle, you don't want to, oops, you want to let go. So once you billow up and they flip, you let go of your hands, the ones who are not running down the aisles. And then maybe they can, worship down the aisles, following behind. So that's another way to exit. Another kind of fun, sort of creative way to exit is kind of artistic, but then it's kind of a mess. But it's kind of beautiful, is to everybody billow up and let go. And they all let go at the same time. And the billows kind of have a mind of their own, and they kind of do this artistic shape onto the floor. So of course you have to, go in and, gracefully pick it up and take it away or whatever. But so anyway, that's just a kind of a brief overview, brief smattering of things you can do with the billow cloths. And like I say, I sell the tissue lame, all the different colors. You order it, and then I place the order. I also sell the silk ones. They're absolutely beautiful. The silk ones have the material on the end, so they don't fray. So those are on the website, and I don't think they're discounted. I don't make hardly anything on them. They're already at a lower price. But anyway, so that's the billow cloth beauty. All right, so now let's talk about, well, wait, let me stop the recording and I'll start it again so that I can segment it out for titling for the recordings. So I'm going to stop recording.